This is Dr. Rosie Kuhn, and this podcast series is called Spiritual Immersion, Taking the Plunge. And the intention of this series is to support and empower you to explore who you are, get to know who you are, and come to respect yourself and honor yourself for who you are as your unique being. Quite often in our consensus reality, there's the need to be like everybody else or to follow the way of everybody else. There's a book written many years ago called The Road Less Traveled. And it really encouraged and supported and empowered people to look at who they are and to know that the road less traveled is their road, not the road that everyone else is taking. And when we come to a place of finding that our life is not working the way we want it to, we're not as fulfilled as we want to be, it doesn't feel like it's purposeful or meaningful, or we're in pain, or we're in situations where we are out of control, perhaps with a disease or an accident or life circumstance that takes us beyond our capacity to stay centered. That's what this is about, so that we can know ourselves to be who we are in our highest truth, our highest knowing, our highest good in our human experience. Our human experience is who we are in this moment, no matter what. You know, I've done a lot of spiritual training, I've done a lot of spiritual practice, done a lot of spiritual education, and I still have this moment in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of potential loss of income, in the middle of all kinds of crises that could be possible. And so who I am in this moment as a human being, still I'm impacted because I'm a human being. And I also have greater capacities to be here now because of the degree to which I've been willing to be with myself in these places where it was just excruciatingly painful, given divorces or bankruptcy or whatever it was or whatever it is. It is as human beings. And so we're here, I believe, as spiritual beings to have a relationship, be the both and the spirit and the human in this moment. So one of the things I wanted to touch on today was the concept of being a canary in a coal mine. Now, some of you may know what that means, some of you may not, but in essence, when we were using more coal and men were having to go down and dig into the coal mines, hand picks and all, they had to make sure there was enough oxygen in those mines that it would sustain the life of the miners. And so the story is that they would send down a canary. They would put a canary down into the coal mine. And if the canary didn't come back, they'd know there wasn't enough oxygen down there, or there was toxic gases or whatever. But if the canary came back, it was okay. We're going to send down a bunch of men and do what they needed to do. So the reason I'm using that as a focus is that quite often there's so many of us who are highly sensitive people. We're sensitive to emotionally, physically, mentally, that we have a lack of ability to be in situations where other people can be there normally. So, for instance, a client of mine moved into an apartment, and she thought, this gives me a sense of community. This gives me a sense of connection with people. This gives me a sense of and she looked forward to it. And so she moved in, but she found that the degree of noise from the traffic or from neighbors was too much. And she just started beating herself up. And people she talks to says, there's something wrong with you because you're constantly complaining. You're constantly finding fault with. And there's some element of that that's true, perhaps, as a pattern of being in the world. But the other thing is true is she's highly sensitive. She's a highly sensitive person. That means that her ability to handle noise or emotional disruption or physical disruption is very, very low. She has a very low tolerance for things. Now, I myself didn't I just thought I was who I was. But then I actually took this questionnaire online of, are you a highly sensitive person? And it turns out I'm a highly, highly sensitive person, which requires me to live the lifestyle that I have. I just thought it was like, hey, I need to be in solitude. It's like, no, my tolerance for noise, my tolerance for noise of all kinds is very low. And so I live at the end of a road, a dirt road, and I live in the woods, and I am as far away from noise as I can be. And that's partly a choice. Partly, well, the choice is I don't like to experience that irritation, the irritability that comes when I'm around noise, and air quote, which I'm trying to say that as like any noise that's not supportive or doesn't feel good to me, that doesn't resonate positively. So there's noise that's a resonance of positive, and there's noise that resonates as a negative. When I'm around people who want to talk about the news and about our president in the United States and want to talk about the negativity of everything, it's that I don't have a tolerance for that, a very low tolerance for that. And so I either ask them to change the subject, or I say, I'm going to go in the other room, or I'm going to go home, because I don't have a tolerance for it. So I think that so many of us who are requiring this practice of a spiritual immersion process may be highly sensitive to what the consensus reality is and how we function in a fear-based world. And there's so many of us that go, I can't function this way. And yet we think there's something wrong with us versus, no, there's something highly sensitive about you and really important as a barometer in the world. And as those of us who are on a spiritual path, who continue to move in this direction, we make a bigger, we make headway in the consensus reality in terms of what is tolerable and what is the truth. So again, this is, as I've mentioned in the previous podcast, I'm in the time of the pandemic. We're in the second month, and in May 23rd, 2020, and we think the world's going to go to hell in a handbasket. But what we're seeing and observing is not only that there's this stuff that's happening that's not good, but there's also so much positivity in the world. There's so many people who are being kinder than kind and generous beyond measure, and are present and loving and happy and fulfilling and supportive as best they can be. These people are showing us and are the demonstration that our world is changing towards a greater capacity for love and kindness and compassion and connection and engagement, and that the human spirit is well and healthy. And the more that you and I do this work, we can continue to make that human spirit of the earthlings more healthy and vital. As we're making our own human spirit relationship healthy and vital and respected and honored, we become more capable of doing that with others and being that with others. So I can say all that, and at the same time, because if I see in this moment that you are a canary in a coal mine, or I am a canary in the coal mine, then when situations come up in my life, I can see it as, oh, I'm sensitive to this situation, and sensitive in the sense that I need to look at this for myself and see what's tolerable or intolerable, or what I need to shift so that I can be present in the way I want to be, and also see like, no, this is a hell no, got to get out of here. It gives us an opportunity to expand our capacity to know ourselves and know what's true about ourselves versus making ourselves wrong or someone else wrong. So here's an example. A friend of mine can't go back to her country, so she's here with me, and she's staying in my yurt. And there's a part, she's one of my dearest people, friends in the world. I just love her tons. And yet there's a part of me that says, I can't function. It's too hard. And you can hear my judgment because I'm changing my tone rather than going, I'm uncomfortable with how it is that they're here, first of all, because I'm usually so in my reclusiveness. So that plus the way that they have to be for however long they're here in a very small space means it doesn't look tidy and sweet and pristine. It looks like people are living there. So the part of me that's highly sensitive, there's a part that goes, I'm judging them for that, and I'm afraid that my things are going to get ruined. And again, you can hear my judgment about that. And I'm afraid. I'm out of control. And my need to try to control is that conversation in my head, like, what should I do? And how do I get them to move? And how do I get them out of here? And nah. And because I'm becoming more sensitive to that as noise in my head, I go, hey, wait, stop. That's not who we want to be. That's not the intention of our life. I want to learn and I want to practice being more generous in spirit, so that it's a hell yes, they're here. Yes, they have no place to go yet. And yes, they are moving and then transitioning towards what they need to do and get to where they need to go. And who am I to say this is the right time and you have to leave and no, you can't, and all of those things that really have nothing to do with generosity of spirit and my love for these people, and my I'm so grateful they're here because I love them so much. And at the same time, the noise in my head that's judging them and then judging myself for judging them, I can then begin to look at and go, no, this isn't working. This isn't working. And in the Course in Miracles, it asks, what's the kind of day you want? What's the day you want? What's the quality of that day? What do you want to do? What do you want to experience? And when I take a deep breath and I breathe into that and go, here's the kind of day I want, and then know that any of my judgments are taking me out of that day, then I can live more purposefully and more sensitively into that resonance of that quality of the day. If I want generosity, spirit, and kindness, and playfulness, and happiness, and then I go, yes, but they're doing this, or yes, but I'm being mean, or I'm being judgmental, it's like, wait, stop. Come back to, here's the kind of day I want. And then I just notice when my thoughts are not leading me in the direction of that. They're not bringing me to the fulfillment of the kind of day I want. It's big practice. But that's what I know I need to do. And knowing that I'm one of those highly sensitive people that are sort of the outer edge of the boundaries of our consensus reality. And if you're listening to this, you are on that edge too, that cutting edge that helps expand the consciousness of all of us human beings on this planet. That gives me a lot of encouragement and inspires me to keep doing my work. So that's pretty much it for today. Just my point here is be conscious of how sensitive you are to what's the world, where you are in the world. And maybe you need to take yourself out of that level of noise and bring yourself to a quieter level of noise or no noise. Just notice your tolerance for it or your intolerance, not as a judgment, but as a like, wow, I have a really high intolerance level for that. And that's a good thing to know. And not as a judgment again, but as a, this is what I know about myself. I am highly sensitive to noise. And so I need to do something different to take care of myself. I want you to take care of yourself. All right. Sending you blessings, big hugs. If you'd like to contact me, Rosie@theparadigmshifts.com. My website, the website is theparadigmshifts.com. All right. Big hugs. Bye for now.